Hey everyone, welcome to How to Sound Like a Native English Speaker. Today we're tackling a common belief that native speakers talk incredibly fast. It often feels like a blur when you're trying to follow along, doesn't it?
Indeed. Many learners tell us they struggle with the speed, but the truth is it's not always about talking quickly in terms of words per minute. It's more about how words seamlessly link and flow together.
Exactly. It's less about raw speed and more about the connections between words, almost like they're merging into one continuous sound. Okay, so building on that idea of flow, let's dive into something called connected speech. This is a huge one for sounding natural. It's essentially how words blend together in spoken English, rather than being pronounced as separate, distinct units.
Precisely. And a very common type of connected speech is linking sounds, particularly when a word ending in a consonant is followed by a word starting with a vowel sound. The two sounds merge, making it flow much more smoothly.
Exactly. Think about it like this. If you say ice cream very slowly, you might pronounce both words clearly with a tiny pause. Ice cream. But a native speaker will almost certainly link them. It sounds more like ice cream. The S sound at the end of ice links directly to the I sound at the beginning of cream.
Indeed. Let's try another one. Instead of I am, which is often pronounced slowly for emphasis, in casual speech it becomes I'm, but when it's part of a phrase like I'm an English teacher, you often hear the M of am linking to the A of an, so it sounds more like I'm an English teacher.
Or how about pick up? If you say each word separately, it's pick up, but together it's pick up. The K sound at the end of pick moves right into the oo sound of up. Hear the difference? Pick up versus pick up. It makes a huge impact on the rhythm. All right, let's talk about something that really makes you sound like a native speaker: reductions. These are words that native speakers often shorten in casual conversation, and they're incredibly common.
Indeed, they can sometimes be a bit tricky for learners because they're not always written down in formal English, but you'll hear them constantly. A classic example is going to, which often becomes gonna.
Exactly. So instead of saying, I am going to the store, a native speaker would most likely say, I'm gonna go to the store. Notice how going to collapses into gonna? It just flows much more smoothly.
Another very common one is want to, which turns into wanna. For instance, do you want to grab coffee would typically be pronounced as do you want to grab coffee? It's much quicker and more natural.
And then we have got to, which transforms into gotta. So if you hear someone say, I've got to finish this report, they mean I have got to finish this report. It's not about being lazy, it's just how we naturally speak in informal settings.
Precisely. These reductions, gonna, wanna, and gotta, are hallmarks of spoken informal English. Understanding them and gradually incorporating them into your own speech will make a significant difference to how natural you sound. It shows you're comfortable with the rhythm of the language.
Beyond just connecting words, there's a whole musicality to English that really makes you sound natural: rhythm and intonation. This is absolutely crucial.
Quite right. English is a stress-timed language, meaning certain syllables and words are stressed more than others, giving it a distinct rhythm. Let's start with word stress.
Exactly. Think about the word present. If I say present, it's a noun, like a gift. But if I say present, it's a verb, meaning to give something. The stress changes the meaning.
And that extends to sentence stress, too. Emphasizing different words in a sentence can completely alter its meaning. For instance, I didn't steal her car. If you stress I, it implies someone else did. I didn't steal her car. If you stress steal, it suggests you perhaps borrowed it. I didn't steal her car.
See how powerful that is? And then there's intonation, the rising and falling of your voice. A rising tone at the end of a sentence often signals a question. You're coming?
Well, a falling tone usually indicates a statement or a sense of completion. You're coming. We also use rising intonation for lists or to show uncertainty or that you haven't finished speaking yet. Mastering this really is the music of English.
Okay, so we've talked about the mechanics of sound, but what about the ums and uhs that pepper natural conversation? Let's talk about filler words and natural pacing, because believe it or not, they are crucial for sounding authentic.
Indeed, many learners try to avoid filler words altogether, viewing them as errors, but in reality, they're a natural part of spontaneous speech. Think of words like like, or you know.
Exactly. They give your brain a split second to process what you want to say next, or to signal that you're thinking. For example, instead of just a dead silence, you might say, I went to the store and, I bought some milk. It sounds much more natural than just a sudden stop.
Quite, and using them correctly demonstrates a more native-like fluency, as you're not pausing unnaturally long or speaking with a robotic rhythm. Consider the difference between I need to think about that and I need to, think about that. The second one with sounds more conversational, doesn't it?
Totally. And that leads us right into natural pacing. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it, including your pauses. Sometimes a well-placed pause can convey thoughtfulness or emphasis. If you speak too quickly without any breaks, it can be hard to follow and sound a bit rushed.
Precisely. Varying your pace and incorporating those brief, natural pauses, often alongside a filler word, allows your listener time to absorb what you're saying and gives your speech a more human quality. It's about finding that rhythm, that natural ebb and flow.
So don't be afraid of the occasional or you know when you're speaking English naturally. Just listen to how native speakers use them. They're not overused, but they're definitely there to make the conversation smoother and more reflective of real-time thought. It's all part of the music of the language. So we've covered quite a bit today, from connected speech and those handy reductions like gonna and wanna, to the rhythm and intonation that give English its melody, and even how those little filler words can make you sound more natural. The biggest takeaway here is practice, practice, practice.
Absolutely. Don't just listen to this episode once. Try to actively incorporate these ideas into your own speaking. And crucially, become an active listener. Start tuning in to how native speakers actually use connected speech, reductions, and natural pacing in films, podcasts, and conversations around you. You'll be surprised at how much you begin to notice.
Exactly. It's all about training your ear and your mouth to move in new ways. Remember, sounding like a native speaker isn't about perfect grammar or a massive vocabulary alone. It's about the nuances of natural spoken English. Be patient with yourself, keep practicing, and enjoy the process.
Indeed, we hope you found today's episode helpful on your journey to sounding more like a native English speaker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, a huge thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.